Have you ever wondered why 2/3 of a year is equal to 8 months? Let's explore the answer. The answer lies in the origin of the calendar system. The ancient Roman calendar had 10 months, with March being the year's first month.
Wait, you mean, the original Roman calendar appears to have consisted only of 10 months named Martius, Aprilis, Mes, Junius, Quintilis, Sextilis, September, October, November, and December, and of a year of 304 days?
Yes. The calendar had only 304 days, which left 61 days unaccounted for.
That's unusual. What did the Roman ruler Numa Pompilius do?
To fill this gap, 2 months were added, January and February. The Roman ruler Numa Pompilius is credited with adding January at the beginning and February at the end of the calendar to create the 12-month year. January and February were placed at the end of the calendar, making December the 10th month. This meant that the 2 additional months were added after December, which is why 2/3 of a year is equal to 8 months.
But the months January and February were called Januarius and Februarius back then. But how? Well, I'm gonna explain the history of the Roman calendar into today's calendar. The Roman calendar began when the earliest Roman calendar was established by Romulus around 753 BCE, and it consists 10 months, named Martius, Aprilis, Mes, Junius, Quintilis, Sextilis, September, October, November, and December. Later, Numa Pompilius, the second king of Rome, sought to improve the calendar as it occurred between 713 BC to 673 BC by adding 2 additional months, Januarius, January, and Februarius, February. But it's confusing as it did not align with the solar year. The Roman calendar was originally based on the lunar cycle, but it didn't align with the solar year. Numa Pompilius, according to tradition the second king of Rome, is supposed to have added 2 extra months, January and February, to fill the gap and to have increased the total number of days by 50, making 354, 10 days short than today's. Even since January and February was added back then, it has 354 days, but, because of the Roman superstition about even numbers, an additional day was added to January to make the calendar 355 days long. Auspiciously, each month now had an odd number of days: Martius, March, Mes, May, Quintilis, July, and October continued to have 31. The other months, 29, except for February, which had 28 days. This caused confusion and misalignment with the seasons. In 450 BC, February was moved to its current position between January and March as the second month, and later January moves as the first month. As a result, March is now the third month, April the fourth month, May the fifth month, June the sixth month, Quintilis the seventh month, Sextilis the eighth month, September the ninth month, October the 10th month, November the 11th month, and December the 12th month. In 45 BC, Julius Caesar introduced the Julian calendar, a significant reform that brought the Roman calendar closer to the modern solar calendar. The Julian calendar was more accurate than its predecessor, but it still had its shortcomings. It overestimated the length of the solar year by approximately 11 minutes. 355 days would quickly unsynchronize from the solar year, causing, for example, agricultural festivals to occur out of season. The Roman Republican calendar still contained only 355 days, with February having 28 days. March, May, July, and October 31 days each. January, April, June, August, September, November, and December 29 days. In order to prevent it from becoming too far out of step with the seasons, an intercalary month, intercalens, or Mercedonius, from merces, meaning wages, since workers were paid at this time of year, was inserted between February 23 and 24, consisted of 27 or 28 days, added once every 2 years, making it 377 or 378 days long. When Caesar decreed the reform, probably shortly after his return from the African campaign in late Quintilis, July, He added 67 more days by inserting 2 extraordinary intercalary months between November and December, making it 445 days long, as there is no basis for the statement sometimes seen that they were called undecember and duodecember. But that'll be too long from today's, because 46 BC was the last of a series of irregular years. This extra long year was, and is, referred to as the last year of confusion. Julius Caesar, following his victory in this civil war and in his role as Pontifex Maximus, ordered a reformation of the calendar in 46 BC. The year 46 BC was the last of the old system and included 3 intercalary months, the first inserted in February and 2 more intercalaris prior and posterior before the calends of December. After Caesar's assassination on March 15, 44 BC, Mark Antony had Caesar's birth month Quintilis renamed July, Iulius, in his honor, and in 8 BC, Augustus redistributed the days among the months to ensure that each month had an equal number of days. This involved adding days to the month of Sextilis and renaming Sextilis August, Augustus, in his honor because several of the most significant events in his rise to power. Augustus also adjusted the leap year system. At the time, leap years were being incorrectly observed every 3 years instead of 4. Augustus temporarily suspended the leap year practice to bring the calendar back in line with the solar year. There were no leap years between 9 BC and AD due to accounting error. Every third year was a leap year in the first years of this calendar's existence, as 45 BC, 42 BC, 39 BC, 36 BC, 33 BC, 30 BC, 27 BC, 24 BC, 21 BC, 18 BC, 15 BC, 12 BC, 9 BC have leap years, but between 9 BC and 8 AD didn't. But that's confusing as it is today. But how are they reforming it? To make it not confusing, he reformed the calendar to make sure that leap years have 366 days long every 4 years instead of 3. Leap years were observed every 4 years as originally intended. Although the Roman calendar has undergone significant changes and reforms throughout history, its influence on modern calendar systems is undeniable. On February 24, 1582, the Gregorian calendar was introduced by Pope Gregory XII and is the most widely used calendar system globally today because Pope Gregory XII issued a papal bull, Inter Gravissimus, that established the Gregorian calendar as the new and official calendar of the Catholic world. So that's how the Roman calendar got converted into the Gregorian calendar what it is today.
So, the next time someone asks you why 2/3 of a year is equal to 8 months, you'll have the answer. Knowledge is power.